Welcome to class, everybody. I am Miss KADIE, that vegan teacher. I'm situated here in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. And where are you guys in the world? Write it in the comments below. And before you forget, don't forget to press the like button because we are learning things here. And subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe and also press the notification bell. So you'll be here for all different videos. Now let's have a look at what's going on here. We have a new presenter. He has 20 million followers and his name is Mark Robber. Let's have a listen.
That's me, that's the richest man in the world, and that's the burger I just made him. But there's a catch. The patty in that burger is made from this stuff. And the reason I can eat it raw is it's made entirely from plants.
Awesome.
As you guys know, every year I dedicate one of my 12 videos to showcase how clever people are using science and technology to change the world for the better. So for example, 2 years ago was a paper centrifusion microscope that could diagnose malaria for 51 cents versus $10,000 for traditional equipment. And then last year was a magical powder that helps poorer countries turn contaminated muddy water into clear drinking water. That's also when I first met Bill and—
Okay, another check mark. Anytime you're helping humanity, you are also then going to be helping the animals. If you're helping the planet, you're going to be helping the animals. If we're going to assume that humans are good and they are going to be then able to see clearly, like if you have malaria, you can't be thinking about helping the animals because you're just so busy worrying about your own life, right? So this is great stuff. Now, but what does this guy have to do with anything here? I'm not sure. Let's keep listening.
And he earned my forever respect after I microwaved up some pizza rolls for him and he ate them like a champ.
Wait, what? What? What pizza rolls? What does pizza rolls have to do with anything? Is the impossible meat inside there, or is it just some random pizza roll? Okay, I'm giving you an X for that because it's not really clear.
I've been loosely following the progress of plant-based meat for a couple years now, and allegedly it looks and tastes like meat, yet it's made from plants. Now, at the top of this video, I feel like I should start with a confession. I eat meat.
X. Don't eat meat. Don't hurt animals. Okay, did you see my shirt? I'm vegan because I'm tired of paying for the rape, kidnapping, sadness, and murder of innocent animals. Okay? So why on earth would you want to admit that you eat meat? Why would you even do it? You know how horrible it is, hopefully. You're an educated man. Seems like it. Science-based.
Kind of a lot.
A lot of meat? Oh, frick. X. Why? And why would you even tell anyone that? What's the point? How is that going to make the world a better place? Just talk about the animals and what goes on in these industries and why we need to have more plant-based products and why we need to end animal abuse. That's your job. Okay? Talk about how we need to have an animal bill of rights. That's what we want to see in this presentation.
I've had some form of meat at pretty much every meal since I was a kid.
Oh my God, X!
My favorite genre of food is barbecue.
We don't care, X! What's the point in telling us all this? Showing dead animals on screen. How many you got there? 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 4. X is for all that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Not okay. Stop showing dead animals on screen. Would you show them if they were a dead cat? Do you also eat cats? What about dogs? Do you eat those too? You're not exactly telling us which animals these are. This isn't going good now.
And so be that as it may, as a firm believer in the scientific method, I feel like it's time for me just to really buckle down and get to the bottom of this plant-based meat thing. And so today on my quest for answers, I'm looking at 3 main questions. Number 1, how does it taste? And not just that, but how does it look and feel and smell? How successfully does it trick my brain into thinking this is real meat? Number 2, is it good for me? If it does trick my brain, what the heck is in it? Is it just some kind of like lab chemical concoction? And also, how does it compare to like the protein from a real burger? And number 3, is it good for the planet? And on this—
Okay, and what about the animals? Is it good for the animals? You kind of forgot them. X. We can't always focus everything on humans. I hope you're going to talk about the animals in this.
This one, I have a hunch that it is, but is it like, meh, that's a little better? Or is it like 100 times better? Now I should say a big motivation for me, and something I think even my fellow meat eaters could agree on, is that the concept of factory farms isn't great.
Isn't great? That's all you could come up with in terms of adjectives? How about horrible? How about abusive? Horrendous? Shocking? Disgusting? Despicable? Not good enough, not strong enough.
The whole cows that have never seen a blade of...
Ah, good, you're showing what actually goes on. Imagine, look closely, each of these little specks is a cow. Do you see any grass? How about trees? Imagine living your whole life in a place like this. How horrific. Imagine if we did that to dogs. Awful.
Grass thing, and pigs, which by most accounts are smarter than dogs.
Exactly. Pigs are smart. And imagine treating them this way. Would we ever put dogs into cages like this? So tight?
Live their entire lives indoors.
So that they can't even turn around? Exactly. Let's look at that again.
Factory farms isn't great. The whole cows that have never seen a blade of grass thing, and pigs, which by most accounts are smarter than dogs, that live their entire lives indoors on crowded concrete. These factories are efficient. They're optimized for driving down costs, not for animal well-being.
Exactly. I'm giving you a check mark for acknowledging that. And I hope that you are vegan after witnessing this, after being aware of this. Hopefully by the end of this video, you're going to say, I am vegan now, and you should be too. That's what you should be telling everybody right now. I don't feel like you're putting enough emphasis on the animals here. Your tone is sort of blasé, as if you're talking about objects. Animals are not objects. They are sentient beings. They have feelings like we do, like cats and dogs do, like children do. And our responsibility as a society is to treat the animals in the same way that we treat children. That is to say, we don't touch them inappropriately. We don't steal things from them. We don't take away their body parts. We don't cut them up. We don't murder them. We don't sexually assault them either, which is what happens in all of these industries. These animals are not out there just making love. They are forced to be pregnant, but for the most part, and they are spending their entire lives as slaves. It's wrong. And I hope that you talk about it a little bit more in this video.
And I'm not trying to be a downer, it's just something I don't like to think about when I'm eating my In-N-Out burger or Chick-fil-A.
Fuck. Why are you promoting companies? X! You literally just said the names of companies that abuse animals. Why would you do that? How irresponsible of you. Why don't you just go ahead and name all the rest of them too? All the other fast food joints. Like, are they paying you or what? I don't know. I don't understand. Why would you do that? Leave the animal abusers out of it if you're doing a presentation here for class. We don't want to see any dead animals, and we don't want to hear you mentioning the names of these restaurants and these places that abuse them. And what do you mean you don't want to think about it? You just want to put it out of your head? X, it's your job to think about it every single time that you take a bite out of a burger or any kind of animal. You better think about it, and you better feel guilty about it, and you better stop.
And it's a lame excuse, but I feel like I sort of never have had a good alternative option.
It is a lame excuse. Exactly. I'm giving you a check mark for that, but not a good, no alternative? X. How about the alternative that you change your head? How about the alternative that you just grow up and don't fucking do it? Don't hurt the animals.
I mean, historically, this is a veggie burger, and nothing about this works as a burger for me. But in recent years,
Don't eat it. Eat other things. Lentils, chickpeas, beans, rice, vegan pizza, vegan lasagna, the list goes on. Did you even bother to try to Google vegan alternatives, vegan recipes?
The strategy shifted to target people exactly like me. Basically try to make it as close to real meat as possible.
Targeting people like you, people who what, are selfish? Who don't care about the other sentient beings, just about your taste buds? This isn't about you. Not everything is about you.
Which reduces friction for trying a plant-based option. So their goal is, if I'm going meatless at the summer barbecue, instead of a quinoa salad, I can still enjoy the full experience of a burger with my friends.
You need to enjoy the full experience of a burger with your friends. Why? Even if you don't have that. You know, people have allergies. They don't eat what other people are eating. People have all kinds of disabilities and they're not doing what other people are doing. Why do you feel the need to have a burger just because your friends are doing so? Be courageous. Think for yourself. Stand up straight and say, I don't need that stuff. I don't need that crap. I am going to be happy with my quinoa salad. Change your brain.
And so on that note, let's get right into question number 1. Throw this puppy on the grill.
It's not a puppy. X. I hope it's not a puppy. You're saying that you're putting an impossible burger with no meat in it. Why are you saying let's throw this puppy on the grill? What a bizarre thing to say.
Sizzle. Definitely sounds like a burger and even smells like it. And you're getting like the fat dripping down, which is causing the flames to come up. So far the experience feels pretty analogous to just grilling a burger.
Okay, check. Good.
When I lick the fork, it definitely tastes like there was meat on this fork.
Check.
All right, this cuts and feels exactly like a real burger.
Good.
But before I
Check
officially
mark.
taste it, I kind of want to know exactly what's in there. And to do that, I'm going to fly out to the two companies who are the leader in this space, Beyond Meat and Impossible Foods. At Beyond Meat, the first thing they showed me were the lab.
Okay, mentioning Beyond Meat and Impossible Foods, 2 check marks for that. Thank you for mentioning vegan alternatives. Good job.
That's where they do all their research. Are these actors or these are real scientists?
These are scientists, yeah.
This feels like Jurassic Park, you know, where they're like giving you the tour and you have... And right out of the gate, they put my mind at ease and showed me a tray of all the main stuff that makes up their burgers. Apparently, they work on not just the taste, but they have teams of researchers working on the texture, color, the smell, the grilling sound, even the same amount of calories and protein as a meat burger. Their goal is to make it as frictionless as possible for people like me to make the switch. So they have these for the color,
Good.
coconut and sunflower
Check
oil
mark.
for
Okay, let's go back there again.
the fat, so it sizzles.
Wait, let's go back and see what we got
And
inside
protein as
the
a meat
burgers
burger.
there.
Their goal is to make it as frictionless as possible for people like me to make the switch. So they have these for the color.
Okay, we got what there for color? Is that an apple? They use apple for the color? That's interesting. Some sort of tomatoes. It looks like beets. Okay, good. I'm giving you some check marks for showing some vegan foods there. What else you got?
Coconut and sunflower oil for the fat, so it sizzles on the grill.
Yeah, coconut oil though is not the greatest, but I mean, there's all kinds of things in regular beef burgers anyway, or puppy burgers as you call them. That is not good for you either. You know, a burger is something that you eat once in a while. It's definitely not considered to be a health food. You can have it once in a while as a treat.
Potatoes for carbohydrate.
Potatoes, yes! Potatoes are great. Some people spend weeks and months eating only potatoes. I've seen some videos like that. It's pretty interesting.
And then these for the protein.
All right, what we got for protein there? Look at that. Looks like some lentils. Not sure what those are. Some kind of beans and some sort of peas. All right, giving you some check marks for showing these. Great. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good.
The majority coming from yellow peas. These burgers are better for you because they have no cholesterol, but they do have saturated
No cholesterol. Great. Check mark. No cholesterol in vegan burgers. Yes.
fat from the coconut oil, so
Yeah.
you shouldn't think of this as healthy as like a plain salad with no dressing. After getting the full tool
That's what you're comparing it to? A plain salad with no dressing? Who eats a plain salad with no dressing? You can easily make dressings by grinding up some of the things that you saw there, by the way. You can grind up, for example, lentils or chickpeas. That's what I do. I put them in my blender with some all kinds of different things you can put in there. Vinegar, or you can put some lemon, all different spices, and then you drizzle that over your salad. It's really, really good. There's no need to add any oil at all.
I was feeling pretty good, so it was time for the real test in the kitchen. I've intentionally kept my taste buds virgin.
Okay, great.
I haven't tasted it, and I had opportunities, but like, no, I want to wait. No pressure. But next week, I'm going to meet Bill Gates.
Yeah.
And I have to cook for him. You're like a professional chef, right?
I am.
In the next like 20 minutes, you need to transfer all that knowledge from your brain into mine, okay? We started with their Italian sausage, made of course just from plants, and Chef Chris showed me some power moves to impress Bill with on the grill.
Oh, just for showing some good vegan foods, I'm giving you a check mark. Yes, look at that sausage. And I've tried these. They are so good. I really like them. I don't eat a lot of processed foods though, but I do like them.
I'm so scared.
Cheers.
Okay, cheers. Even putting flavor aside,
I think Bill will be okay with a little bit of a juice.
there's no way I would have guessed I wasn't actually eating real meat.
Yes, good. No way you would have guessed. Check mark. Good.
That's pretty good.
Cheers.
Cheers. That's really good. Do one more taste.
Very good. He's saying it's good. Check mark. Good that you're open-minded and you're trying some vegan stuff. And good that you're telling everybody that it's good.
It's
Excellent.
freaking good.
Thank you.
Next up was their burger. which it turns out was equally amazing.
Amazing. That's a good adjective to use when you're talking about vegan food. Good job. Check mark.
Genuinely, when you can surround it with burger stuff, it's really hard to tell.
There's no way to tell.
My next trip was to Impossible Foods, and they actually let me make a burger myself just from the ingredients in these bowls.
So the first thing that we're gonna do is add the water to the soy protein, and then we're gonna add the potato protein.
Okay, so soy protein, good. And potato protein, excellent. Showing some vegan ingredients, excellent.
So the next thing we're gonna put in is our magic ingredient, which, do you know what this is?
Red number 5. It's just food.
So this is our magic ingredient. It's called heme, which is short for hemoglobin. Heme is responsible for making meat taste like meat. That's found in every living plant and animal. You can get heme from soy plants.
I see.
You don't have to get it from animals.
Next, we added the cellulose-based culinary binder to hold everything together, and then finally, the coconut and sunflower oils.
Have you done any pastry work in your life?
Oh, tons of
Okay,
pastry.
you're gonna like fold and smush.
All my pastry work's shining through.
You literally just made the Impossible Burger yourself.
Like 5 little cups.
Five bowls, yeah.
One of them was water.
One of them was water.
So now I think it's time to cook one of these up.
96% of the folks who are ordering our product are self-identified meat eaters.
I'm definitely your target demo. I grew up, like, if the meal didn't have meat in it, it wasn't a meal.
Oh, X for that. Not good. A meal, of course, can be a meal if it has no meat in it. And that's how we need to change our whole way of thinking. We need to move forward to think of other things, whole foods on our plates, a variety of different foods, not meat anymore, no dead animals, no chicken legs, no liver, no meat from somebody's butt, like nobody's muscle. We don't want to cut up baby cows and put veal, which is what they are, on our plates. This is awful. No ducks. We don't want to put pigs on our plate. All of that has to be gone. We got to move forward now to care about the animals. Okay, we really do. It's time.
When it delivers in that same characteristic that meat does, it really proves the point that we're providing a no compromises alternative for those meat eaters out there to make a different choice.
This raised an interesting point. Meat has been cleverly marketed with being a real man because real men need their protein.
That's what a man eats. Made from stuff guys need. Eat like a man.
But the truth is, even meat eaters like me get roughly half their protein a day from plants by eating things that contain some kind of beans, peas, nuts, or whole grains like corn, rice, and oats.
Good.
In fact, many high-performance athletes are switching to a plant-based diet because studies have shown it can help reduce measures of inflammation by almost 30%.
Exactly. Let's listen to that again. Look at that. Okay, so those of you who think you're getting all of your protein from meat, you are not. And many high-caliber athletes are eating mostly plants now. It's incredible. I can tell you some. One you can follow is Nimai Delgado over on Instagram. He's an amazing big bodybuilder who's had no meat his entire life, and he's been vegan for many years. He's freaking strong.
Or whole grains like corn, rice, and oats. In fact, many high-performance athletes are switching to a plant-based diet because studies have shown it can help reduce measures of inflammation by almost 30%.
Reduces inflammation by almost 30%. It's a no-brainer. Go vegan.
Just 3 weeks, and inflammation makes it harder to recover after a workout. So if a plant-based diet is good enough for Arnold Schwarzenegger, Kyrie Irving, Lewis Hamilton, Venus and Serena Williams, Nate Diaz, and a growing butt ton of others, it's probably good enough for me and my weekly rec league soccer game.
Ballin' like Curry.
You can ultimately utilize this in any way you would use traditional ground beef.
Okay, I just want to stop and say something about the different athletes that he showed. I personally don't believe in highlighting these so-called stars because some of them are really not in it for the animals and they might cheat. I don't know. What's important to constantly emphasize is the actual animals. Okay, Mark, you need to talk about the victims, not just promote stars who do something. A lot of times these people end up just changing their minds. They get lazy. They don't, they stop doing exercise and then they start eating this other stuff again. Now, somebody like Lewis Hamilton, I'm pretty sure you can tell he's vegan for the animals because he talks about the animals. But even, we never know. What's important to do is watch this documentary here. It's called don'twatch.org. It's only 6 minutes long. I want you to take a screenshot right now. Okay? Take a screenshot of this. Or if you have your camera handy and you're watching from your iPad or whatever, just take a screenshot of this or memorize it. Don'twatch.org. I know it has a funny name, but I want you to watch it to find out what goes on with the animals. And Mark, if you are watching this, I want you to watch this as well. This one is only 6 minutes long, but here's another one. This one is much longer and really important to watch. If you want to really know what's going on, watch Dominion.com. Go to that, type it in, bring Kleenex, and seriously sit there and watch it, the whole thing, a little bit at a time. Take notes. Mark, if you're watching this, I want you to write down every animal that you see and what we do to them. Because the footage that you showed, yes, you showed what's going on in factory farming, but you didn't show what's going on in the slaughterhouses. And you showed some stuff with the lights on, and it was, pretty cleaned up looking. It's not really always that way. It is absolutely horrible. This is full of undercover footage, and this one here is from undercover footage around the world. So nobody in any country can say, oh, that doesn't happen here, because it does. So remember, this one is .org, and this one is .com. Okay?
So tacos, lasagna, meatballs.
You name it.
Eat the vegan versions of those things.
They're so good. This is a plant-based burger, and look at the...
So good! It's so good. Na 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 na. He said it's so good.
That's not making. So obviously I thought their burgers were also really good, but I felt like I wanted a larger sample size before I felt truly confident feeding Bill. So I invited some friends to a local restaurant that serves Impossible Burgers. And the thing is, you can't always trust adults because they might just change their answer to be nice.
It's really good.
Kids, on the other hand, are brutally honest. So we ordered them plant-based burgers too, but might have neglected to mention it to them beforehand.
What do you think?
It's really good.
There's no meat in that burger.
Wait, what?
Really good. She said really good. Excellent.
You're lying.
Plants. That was a plant burger. You ate a plant burger.
This, instead of meat, it was vegetables. It just tastes like extra juicy.
And so, feeling more confident than ever, it was
Extra juicy. All right, so these are kids who are telling the truth, and they're saying that they like it. So you see what happens is people are not prejudiced if they don't know what's going on. But if you tell them, here, have a vegan burger, most people will be like, ew, I don't want to try that, because you guys are insane. Try to have an open mind about veganism. Veganism is good for everyone, for you, for the planet, and it is all about the animals. That, at its core, is the definition of veganism. And that's why you should be vegan. Go and check out the Vegan Society to find out the actual definition. It's about doing the least harm. And everyone can do that. And this is great that he took a bunch of kids out and he taught them that they can eat vegan burgers and they actually like them. Good job.
time to visit Bill, put my culinary skills to the test, and see if he could help me answer my final question.
Again, taste good for me, good for the planet. You're missing out on, is it good for the animals? That is the main thing we want to look at here. Imagine that you are the victim or someone that you love. Okay, I know you have a son. I'm quite sure you would protect your son if anyone tried to harm him. I ask you this, what is the difference between a child and a pig, or a cow, or a dog, or a cat? What is the actual difference? Name the trait. Are you going to say because he has 2 legs? What? Chickens have 2 legs. What are you going to say? What is the trait? The intellectual capacity? I'm quite sure that your child, I'm pretty sure I saw a video that said that he's autistic, right? So are you going to say because he's autistic, he's worth less than someone else? Of course not. So are you going to say that just because a pig is born in the pig body, it's that he or she is worth less? Of course not. Don't hurt animals. Don't hurt children, that goes without saying, but animals need a Bill of Rights. They have to also have their rights protected. The right to not be enslaved, to not be put in these horrific places behind bars for their entire lives. They have a right not to be sexually assaulted, which is what we do in these egg industry, dairy industry, in the meat industry. It's not right. So you should have a 4th sign there. And in fact, I want you to do this presentation over again with just 1 sign. Is it good for the animals? Whatever you're doing, anytime that you are doing a presentation, think about the victims. They're living in a Holocaust-like conditions right now. These cows, for example, in the dairy industry have their babies removed from them. When they're just born, little baby boys, little baby cows, and then their throats are slit. Can you imagine taking a baby cow, which is just the same as a baby, anybody, any other baby is the same as a puppy? Why would you do that? Just to steal their milk? That's morally wrong. You know that, Mark. You should be talking about that more. And the baby boy chicks in the industry. They are put on an assembly line. When they are identified by their gender, the workers there throw them in this giant vat, and they fall down and they get cut into a million pieces by all of these blades, just because they're boys and just because they won't be able to lay eggs. It's not okay. You can be vegan, and I want you to talk about the animals more.
So I'm back in Bill's kitchen. He's gonna be here in an hour, and I need some groceries.
All right, these are all vegan things. Good. Check mark.
All right, Bill.
Hey.
Good to see
How
you
are you?
again. So I've been working hard in your kitchen,
Perfect.
and I kind of wanted to talk to you about plant-based meat, and I thought maybe we could try them out as well.
Sure.
But as a control, I know you're a big fan of Dick's Burgers. So to kind of cleanse the palate, I thought we could just take a bite.
That's the real thing.
The real thing. As a non...
I don't know. That's not what he should be doing. How is this scientific as a control to give him something else? When he was feeding the children in the restaurant, he didn't give them a meat burger first, right? You should be looking upon vegan foods and vegan alternatives as something on their own. Don't start comparing it to meat. Don't do that. It's not good to compare soy milk to cow's milk, for example. Think of it as its own thing. It has its own unique flavor.
Seattle native, I've got to say, I think this may be an acquired taste.
Yeah, you get used to a certain burger.
You get used. And so now it's time for my cooking.
It's another thing. He left the burger there for quite a while to get cold.
What do you think?
It's quite good. I mean, that's light years away from what they used to make.
Okay, quite good. Check mark.
Like the traditional veggie burger?
Right. You know, the quality's going to keep getting better. The plant-based guys are not done innovating. Eventually, they claim you won't be able to tell the difference.
Next up was my killer bratwurst.
I'm getting hungry just watching
Wow.
this.
Well, that's pretty good.
And at this point in my quest, I felt like I had a pretty good lock on questions 1 and 2. So I asked him about number 3.
The agriculture sector is about 18% of overall emission, but livestock is about half of that 18%.
Wow.
And almost all of that is beef.
Is this like cow farts? Cow burps?
Slightly more burps than farts, but it's a mix of those two.
To put that into perspective, that means that sector alone is responsible for more greenhouse gases than all the cars, trucks, trains, ships, and planes combined. Turns out, it takes a lot. To put that into perspective, that means that sector alone is responsible for more greenhouse gases than all the cars, trucks, trains, ships, and planes combined.
I played that twice so to get that through your head. If you care about the environment, you will be vegan. Thank you for mentioning that.
Turns out, it takes a lot of stuff to make a cow.
Very inefficient, particularly beef, is almost 8 to 1. You use 8.
Exactly, inefficient. Thank you, Bill, for saying that. It's inefficient, so you know that. You know it's inefficient. You know it's bad for the animals. You've seen that. You just said it, that it's not good for the environment. So why are you guys not vegan yet? Or are you?
8 calories
Right.
to feed that cow for every calorie of meat you get out, because you're building bone and respiration for that cow.
Now this was a really good point I hadn't fully considered. If you think about it, as humans, we're really solar powered. We eat plants, but they get their energy from the sun. Then you might be like, we also eat animals though. But they get their energy from plants too, which again, get their energy from the sun. So when it comes to getting our energy from the sun, animals are an inefficient middleman.
Exactly. Yes. They are an inefficient middleman. If you could call a cow a man, no. But that's the point. You don't need to eat the animals at all. Just eat the plants directly, which is what the cows do, and what the pigs do, and what the chickens do, and what the elephants do, and the giraffes, and the bison. Check mark. Good job. Yes.
We get on average 10% of our calories or energy in a day from meat. That might sound reasonable until you look at the amount of resources it takes to make that meat compared to the other 90%. If you combined all the land in the US dedicated to raising animals, you would get an area like this. And then plus this much.
Do you see that? How much land is used just to raise animals?
Much more to grow the crops needed to feed those.
See that? Those are the crops that feed them. Crazy amounts of land.
Animals. Now remember, all of that is for the middleman, for 10% of our daily energy. Now compare that to the amount of land needed for crops we actually eat ourselves directly. That relatively small chunk of land is where the overwhelming majority of our personal energy comes from.
Isn't that fascinating? Eat plants. Be vegan. It's best for you and the environment. And of course the animals. Less will die.
And it's not just land resources, but water as well. To end up with 24 hamburger patties, it requires the amount of water you see in this pool.
Did you see that? Let's go back.
The overwhelming majority of our personal energy comes from. And it's not just land resources, but water as well. To end up with 24 hamburger patties, it requires the amount.
Look at that. That's how much water is needed to make 24 hamburger patties. I know people have a hard time understanding this, but it is just a fact.
The amount of water you see in this pool. That same amount of water could make 75 loaves of whole grain bread.
Yes, yes. Oh, this is great. Thank you for pointing this out.
And 30 jars of peanut butter.
Isn't that amazing? Look how much food you can get out of that with that amount of water versus how many little burgers you can get. Eating meat is not good for the environment, but you're still not talking about the animals. It's unfortunate. Look, I want to tell you something. Look at this. Here's what being vegan is like. Being vegan is like trying to rescue drowning animals, desperately pulling them out of the water, one by one, and having your family, friends, and everyone around you throwing them back in. That's what it's like. You gotta talk about the animals and what it's like for them, the victims. And you should also be talking about vegan phobia and speciesism, which is the first form of racism. When we treat kids in such a way as we teach them that animals are just objects, that's not okay. Certain animals are often in the schoolyard being treated like, well, you know, that insect is ugly and oh, the butterfly is pretty. No. Or we eat pigs, but we don't eat cats. No. When we teach kids at a young age this kind of thing, we fail. We need to try to teach them compassion for all creatures. Just like with your son who has autism, we need to teach people that he has value. He's here on the planet. He's different. He has different skills, different things to offer. We're all different. Like we are not better than an eagle, for example. An eagle can see much better than us. And other species can hear better than us. And we are just here with animals. They're not here for us. We're here with them together.
So if I made myself a delicious peanut butter sandwich, which has nearly the identical amounts of both calories and proteins compared to this patty, and then I ate 2 a day, the meat would last me a little over a week, and the sandwiches would last me a little over a year.
See that? Let's watch that again. It's really interesting. I want you to get that in your head.
Identical amounts of both calories and proteins compared to this patty, and then I ate 2 a day, the meat would last me a little over a week, and the sandwiches would last me a little over a year. So that's the same amount of resources used, same amount of calories and protein to me per serving. One just lasted me a year longer because it's a much more efficient energy transfer method.
Cool, eh? Isn't that cool? And also, good job reminding people that whole grain bread with peanut butter is an excellent source of protein. Yay! Well, so far you're doing better, you know, better than when we started. Look at your checklist here. Pretty good. More check marks than X's. Let's keep going.
This is why a plant-based diet is a way more efficient use of natural resources.
Yes, more efficient use. Good.
We could feed an additional 3.5 billion people worldwide if all countries just ate the stuff they fed to animals. And here's...
Did you catch that? Isn't that amazing? We could solve world hunger by doing this, if everyone went vegan.
A way more efficient use of natural resources. We could feed an additional 3.5 billion people worldwide if all countries just ate the stuff they fed to animals. And here's why that fact matters.
Particularly as people get richer, they tend to eat more meat. If we don't do anything, this sector will actually grow over time.
So you're saying not just the fact that there's more people and a larger population, but as people move up towards the middle class, they want to consume more meat. And you can certainly see that this is true when you look at the amount of meat consumed over the past 50 years. Given the resources required, a trajectory for meat consumption like this is simply unsustainable. A few decades ago, meat was considered a luxury product, but now it's a commodity for a growing number of people.
It's not a commodity, though. It shouldn't be. Sentient beings are not objects. Pigs are not objects. They shouldn't be sold and bought, same as cows, chickens, turkeys, lambs, even fish. We need an animal bill of rights where they are protected under the law and have a right to legal representation in court. That's what we need. I hope you're going to become vegan. I hope by the end of this you're going to declare that you're vegan. And hopefully you're going to have that conversation with Bill Gates as well. Talk about the ethics of it.
In fact, the demand is growing so much, it now makes sense for farmers in the Amazon just to burn it down and to turn that forest into grazing land for animals.
Terrible.
We've irreversibly lost 20% of the Amazon so far.
20% of the Amazon has been lost because of animal agriculture. That's awful. Can you imagine how many animals were displaced? How many animals were living happily in their forest, and we humans just came there and just bulldozed the whole thing down because we are so selfish that we want to eat meat? And then we put animals on there as prisoners? We need to change.
And that's a double gut punch, because now not only is that more cow farts adding to climate change, but when you burn those trees, all the carbon stored inside them goes back into the atmosphere as the greenhouse gas CO2.
One of the great tragedies about climate is that it's the poorest in the world, the farmers who live fairly near to the equator, that all this heat and flooding and droughts, they're going to suffer by far the most. If you're just trying to get people to cut back, don't eat meat, don't drive to work, don't take trips. It's such a dramatic set of sacrifices that everybody has to engage in that without innovation, we're probably going to go way past the 2 degrees.
And that last part is the silver lining. Plant-based meat is the exact kind of innovation Bill's referring to here. And I'm optimistic because as the demand for plant-based meats goes up, the price will come down, much lower than actual meat. So then not only will the experience be identical to eating meat, but it's better for you, better for animals, and much better for the planet. Oh, good. And it also costs half as much. It just becomes a really easy decision for people to switch in massive numbers. All right, so what is
good. So he's telling you it's a good decision to switch in massive numbers. I'm giving another check mark here. Good. Now what does it say on there? Team trees.
It's all me. Now that I've completed my quest for answers, where do I stand? And I'll say it still makes me really uncomfortable to think about these factory farms or the Amazon being burned down to make room for more cows, but at the same time, I can't really blame these poor remote farmers who know nothing about what a greenhouse gas is for just trying to feed their family.
What remote farmers? What poor remote farmers? The vast majority of meat that ends up on your plate comes from these gigantic factory farms. Trying to make excuses, this isn't ending well.
Family. As long as the demand for meat continues to grow, there will be an incentive to be not cool to our mutual friend, Mother Earth. So the most effective thing we can do is try and reduce that demand. So after all this, I'm not a vegan.
Fuck you. No, that's it. You're not. I don't even know if I want to hear any more of this. How could you not be vegan after this? Did you learn nothing? How could you say that?
I'm not even strictly on a plant-based diet.
Why not? I'm taking the X and I'm doubling it. Terrible. With a grin on your face. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
But I have reduced the amount of meat I can...
That's not good enough! It's not good enough! You've literally just told your 20 million followers that they should reduce the amount of meat. That's like saying, you know what? Racism exists, and I think it's wrong, but I'm just gonna reduce it. I'm just gonna not be racist a couple of days a week. Bullshit!
consume by more than half, and I feel great.
Fuck you. No. I'm making your X even bigger. You should not feel great. Oh, you know what? What else do? You abuse your wife and you can be like, you know what? I feel great. Now I only hit my wife a couple of times a day. Instead of 3 times a day, I now only hit her twice a day. Or what? Like, it's crazy what you're saying. Unfortunately, you fail. I'm not going to watch. Okay, fine, I'll watch some more. You better say something good.
Importantly, I've broken from that weird mindset that for it to be considered a true meal, it has to have some form of meat. So if any part of this video rang true to you, I would say don't take my word for it. Try it for yourself.
Fine, I'm giving you a little check mark just because you said we should try it. But those statements that you made at the end, they cancel out all the good. You cannot tell people to not be vegan. It's not okay. I'm stopping this video now. You failed. It's the wrong conclusion. You had such an opportunity to make the world a better place and you're just like, you know what, hey, why don't you guys just try, just have a couple of, Beyond Burgers, a couple of Impossible Burgers once in a while if you feel like it. Your message is not strong enough. And you didn't talk about the animals enough. You didn't talk about the fact that they are raped, that they are tortured. You didn't talk about what happens to the pigs, that they cut their tails off and they pull their teeth out and they castrate them just like that with no anesthetic. You didn't talk about how the chickens are murdered at 7 weeks old. You didn't talk about that, about the baby chicks being murdered either. Terrible, confined living spaces that these poor animals live in. Shame on you. You didn't talk about animal experimentation at all either. What it feels like to be a rabbit and have somebody forcing drops into your eyes for some stupid experiment for makeup. I've had enough. I'm going to stop the video now. Thank you everybody for being here. Coming up on the screen are going to be a bunch of other videos. Click on them and be curious. And subscribe to this channel. And press the notification bell. Do you see it down there? Help me get these animals out of hell. Mark, I'm so disappointed in you. If you want to contact me, this is how you do it. That Vegan Teacher, Miss KADIE. It's one of the ways. Go ahead and just send me something on Instagram. Mark, I want to hear from you. I want you to redo this presentation and talk about the animals a bit more. Okay, it's not good enough. Bye for now, everyone.